Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of HEXA'S Moulvibazar podcast, and we are calling it the Hexapod. Today we have a very special guest with us. I would like to welcome Mr. Fayyaz Qureshi sir.
Thank you for having me. I'm very delighted to be here, and definitely I would like to introduce myself. Hi everyone, this is Fayyaz Qureshi, 2 times British Council certified IELTS instructor, currently working as a faculty member in HEXA'S Moulvibazar.
All right, so Fayyaz sir, today as we record this episode, we are going to ask you some questions that our students frequently ask us. And nowadays, as the teachers are quite busy with their work, they don't have the opportunity to come over and teach their students about this. And also the students are busy, so they cannot come over, and anytime they cannot
That's a huge problem, yeah.
So is it possible that I ask you those frequently asked questions and you could answer those questions for our students?
Definitely, and I would love to do that because a lot of the students have their own questions who are not being able to reach out to us. So I'll be glad if they just watch this podcast and learn about those.
All right, so the very first question that I have is it important to look very pretty and look very professional when you are taking the speaking test?
No, not at all. It's not even relevant, I would like to say, because you need to wear something that you're very comfortable with, as it's like a main exam, so it's an international test. You have to be at your comfort zone, be comfortable, be fluent about it. So you shouldn't be wearing something like baggy or extra fashionable. So.
All right, basically we're not supposed to wear something extra traditional or something that is extra modern.
Whatever that makes you comfortable. If you're comfortable wearing a full sleeve shirt like you and I are wearing, wear that, or else you can just wear a t-shirt. Just make sure that there's nothing written on the t-shirt because some of the students have faced issues because of that.
All right, so the best advice is to wear something that does not have any writings on it.
Yes, absolutely, because they are
all right, that's a very
prohibited.
good answer. Now we would like to move on to the next question. Do you think the examiner can influence your score? So let's say some students come over and say, my examiner was from Bangladesh, mine was from Canada, mine was from the United States. And is it something that would influence their score, or is it something that would change their score?
Not at all. I think that's completely, it's more, I shouldn't be saying this, but it's more like an excuse to me because all the examiners, they're British Council or IDP examiners for one good reason. And let's say they all have to follow one band criteria and they're giving you scores based on that. So it doesn't matter to me personally that if your examiner is from Bangladesh or any other nation, if you're doing your exam very good or if you're performing really well, if you're confident, if you're comfortable, you're doing it well, you deserve the score, you get that. There's nothing in between.
Yeah, but sometimes the students would come out of the exam hall and they would say, you know, my examiner was from Bangladesh and he was very mean to me, he was not smiling. Does smiling influence your score? Does it mean when your examiner is smiling back at you, does that mean that he's going to give you a bigger score or greater score?
That's his smile and my score is completely irrelevant, I would like to say. Back in my main exam, I would like to say that my examiner wasn't smiling at all. Still, I received a decent score, right? So it's completely irrelevant, and it doesn't matter if your examiner is smiling or not. It's just, you got to perform your best.
All right, the next question that we have is, you know, some students tend to say that there are certain dates of taking the test. For example, students would say, if I take the test on the day where GT and academic students are going to take the exam together, that day they are supposed to, they think that the listening module is going to be easier. So is there anything like that?
Okay, they've done their fair share of practice in Cambridge in their house, then they have attended the partial test, then they have attended the mock test. And I would like to mention that it's no big secret that HEXA'S mock test listening tracks are one of the hardest in the town, if not the city. So what I would like to say is that if you're prepared after even this mock test and partial tests, what are you exactly worried about? A fast track? If you've done your practice, what are you just concerned?
Yeah, basically if the students are worried about having a faster track, that means they're not well prepared for the test, and it has nothing to do with...
You should invest your time.
Yeah.
You should spend more time on getting prepared for that, and you just got to do your best. You got to attend the exam when you're completely ready for that. That's my statement.
Okay. All right, so as we have already talked about the problems that students face at their exam hall and the exam day, Now let's talk about some problems that students might face in their home. So as they're studying by themselves, they might face these issues. So Fayaz sir, I would like to ask some of those questions that students have when they're studying at their home. First of all, how do you think students can learn structural variations, and how can they actually use those structural variations in their exam?
Okay, so most of the students out there, they have not even completely mastered the correct form of every grammatical terms. So that's the thing, and they're coming off with issues like, sir, how do I use the structural variations and how do I do this and do that? That's actually a myth if you're not properly ready yet in terms of grammaticals. Right. So in that case, they're just coming off and they think, they have this misconception in their mind that if they're more likely to use the grammatical variations, their score will increase. That's not even true. You're being scored based on the factor that how fluently and comfortably you're speaking, as I mentioned before. So for which student does this grammatical variations comes informed to? I would like to say that the students who are already in the level of band 7, 7.58 or above. In that case, those students are like basically prepared to use this term. They can practice it, they can do it. But if your score is like below, let's say 6 or 6.5, so I don't think you should be focusing on the grammatical terms that much or like showing the variations.
All right, another issue that a lot of the beginner level students have, that is thinking sounds, or more informally called mumbling. What do you think of mumbling, and how can students avoid that, or get around it while they're speaking?
Okay, just so that I show a demo of how it looks like, I would like to ask you, or I would request you to ask me a question of any speaking module.
All right, let's talk about your hometown then. Can you tell me something about your hometown?
The answer is more likely to be like, my hometown is Moulvibazar, it's very nice, and they're constantly like thinking about it and generating ideas while they're talking. So the ultimate solution to that is that don't think while you're talking. Remove English language from the frame for a moment, even if you're talking in your mother tongue. Let's say Bengali is our mother tongue, right? So if we are talking in that language, let's say if I'm thinking, it's going to come. It's not connected to English anyway. It's just that think before you start talking. It's not a crime
the best suggestion is to not think and talk together.
So yeah, I would like to let everybody know that it's not a crime to think and generate idea if the examiner asks you, and you can just wait for 1 or 2 seconds to generate the idea. Our brain moves in the speed of a light. So you can just say, well, I would like to say that my hometown is Moulvibazar, and it's a small city. Everybody seems to be knowing each other, and it's a lovely place to be in. That's how you should answer.
All right, as you have already talked about idea generation a little bit, how can we improve our ideas, the qualities of our ideas? Sometimes when I ask students about their ideas, they would say, my ideas are very poor, and it's true. They have very poor ideas. So how can they improve the quality of their idea and make sure that their idea is absolutely relevant to the question?
That's basically 2 things that you're talking about. One thing is that maintaining the coherence, which is the relevancy of the context of the answer. The other thing is the quality of the idea that they're talking about. Yeah. Well, I've seen students getting band 8 by talking literally anything. It's not that you're getting the score based on your idea. It's just that they're judging your communication skills. It's an international language testing system. So they're going to judge the factor that how well you can communicate. Can you understand the question? Can you deliver the question? It's not that the context of the idea.
So basically, it's not about the idea. It's more about how much I can elaborate on my idea.
Yes, how good I can deliver that, how comfortable I am, how fluent I am.
Okay, that's a good answer. And now, lastly, I would like to ask you something that I myself suffer a lot. That is improving vocabs. When students come to us, not only for writing, for reading, for speaking, and for writing, all of them, they have one specific issue that is that goes beyond the boundary of our horizon. Like each and every students have this issue. Like I have students who are capable of scoring band 7, band 6.5. I've seen those students, but they have the same issue. It's vocabs. How do they improve their vocabulary? Like some students would come to me and say, I have learned this many idioms and this many phrasal verbs, but still I get 5, 5.5 or 6 on my speaking test. So what can be done in that case to improve the vocabulary and make sure that they're scoring the higher band on that lexical resource part?
Well, Shihab, so I've got a lot to say on this. Let's start with the vocabulary part, as you said. So there are sectors or there are levels among students. There are students who are getting a band 4 or 4.5 in the speaking test. There are students who are getting 6 or 6.5 in the speaking test, who are struggling to get on 7. And there are students who are getting 7.5 or 8, and they're struggling to get on band 9. They're trying to figure out the ways to get that. So it varies from these levels of students to students. So I would like to say, let's start from the very below. The reason that they're getting 4 or 4.5 is that they're getting stuck on the factor that they don't know the translation of basic words. They're like, oh, okay, how can I not know this meaning or something like that translation? So the beginning level ones should be focusing on the basic words instead of the high range vocabs. There goes one. Talking about the 6 or 6.5 level who are like a little bit better than average, they should be like, learning a bit of the synonyms of common words. They know the common words. Definitely, that's why they're getting 6 or 6.5. So if they focus on the synonyms a bit more, that shows a bit diversity in the lexical resource. So that can boost the score. I'm sorry about that.
That's fine. So basically, as you were saying, I'm really sorry to interrupt you. I'm just trying to conclude those 2 points. Like those who are absolutely in the beginner part, they should learn the translation of words, and those who are on intermediate level, or we should say average level, should improve their vocabularies and learn as many synonyms as possible.
Yes.
Okay,
this
so
diversity among the words is what gives us scores. Let's say, okay, this mug looks very good.
Yeah.
Or this mug looks very beautiful. Yeah. This mug looks very pretty. Yeah. This mug looks very gorgeous. This one looks very marvelous. Okay. So this is the diversity that they should be learning. Yeah. It varies from person to person. Other than that, you said that you mentioned idioms and connectors.
And phrasal verbs.
Phrasal verbs. They try to, like those 4 or 5 level band students are trying to fill it up with as many linkers and connectors they can possibly. Thinking or remaining in a misconception that it's going to eventually boost their score is a misleading path itself. First, you should clear out your basic vocabulary list so that you can speak fluently. Now that you can speak fluently, move to the high range vocabs or show the diversity, whatever you want to do. Okay, so it depends.
All right, so to conclude Fayyaz's idea, basically if you're struggling with your vocabs, what you should do is, if you're a very new, you are a beginner, you should do one thing, that is learning as many words as possible, knowing their translations, knowing their meaning in your own language. And if you are on the intermediate level, what you should do is learn as many synonyms for the words that you already know. And speaking of idioms and topic-related vocabularies, linkers, and phrasal verbs, what you should do is not try to apply them forcefully. You should be using them fluently and making sure that you are not brute forcing them into your sentences. I hope that's the point, right?
Definitely, that's the point.
All right, thank you everyone for watching this part, and I'll meet you on a different episode with someone else. Allah Hafiz, Assalamu Alaikum.